tens of thousands of them have begun withholding payments for unfinished projects.
A massive protest over frozen bank deposits.
The international community and the financial markets will also feel the pain.
Since 1978, when China started to open up and reform its economy, the GDP has grown by an average of nearly 9% annually, and more than 800 million people have been pulled out of poverty. Over the same time span, access to health, education, and other services have also significantly improved. China now has an income level above the middle class. Going forward, it will be crucial that efforts to reduce poverty concentrate more on addressing the vulnerabilities faced by the substantial population still classified as poor by middle-income country standards, including those residing in metropolitan areas. But in these years, China has also created unsolvable problems among its people. To understand these problems, let's take a closer look at events happening in China. The property crisis in China began as a result of the country's rapid economic expansion and population growth. This led to an increase in demand for residential and commercial properties, driving up prices across major cities. People felt safe investing in properties, and even those people who didn't require any homes started investing their money into it. This resulted in the starting of many new property projects, but what people of China were not aware of was the crash of real estate. The National Bureau of Statistics reports that the Chinese real estate market is in danger of collapsing, with prices for homes decreasing at their quickest rate since 2015. The Chinese economy, which has been the driving force behind global development for more than a decade, is experiencing a dramatic slowdown as a result of the collapse of the housing market in China. The World Bank has decreased its estimate of Chinese GDP growth from 8.1% last year to 2.8% in 2022. Comparatively, China's GDP increased by an average of 7.7% from 2010 to 2019 and 10.4% from 2000 to 2009. China had set a goal of 5.5% GDP growth for this year, which would have already been a 3-decade low. Some experts anticipate that China's economy would overtake the United States as the largest in the world by 2030, unseating the latter. This situation seems less promising now. As Xi gears up for his second decade in office, he will face mounting economic issues, particularly a disgruntled middle class. If he fails to reignite it, China's economy would suffer from diminishing productivity, a lack of innovation, and social instability. China was on a road that gave people enormous hope for 30 years, but the nation is currently in serious jeopardy. Throughout the years, China has experienced what many people would call a real estate bubble. The property crisis in China began as a result of the country's rapid economic expansion and population growth. This led to an increase in demand for residential and commercial properties, driving up prices across major cities. People felt safe investing in properties, and even those people who didn't require any homes started investing their money into it, which resulted in the starting of many new property projects. As citizens prefer to invest in real estate as a safety net, causing the real estate market to increase by double digits year over year. On top of that, the societal pressure to buy a house caused a massive relocation to cities offering greater opportunities and higher earning potential, thereby further driving up demand. In fact, the country was building more homes than America and Europe combined. The demand was so high that some cities would use a lottery system to decide who gets to buy a home with odds of 1 in 60. This resulted in 70% investment in the property market, which is more than twice as compared to the US. People thought that investing in property was so good that they would buy anything they could get their hands on. Even if they didn't live there, they could sell it in the future for a profit. At that point, the property value was rising so quickly that the developers started to pre-sell the units without actually constructing them, and the people would pay for them as though they thought it would be cheaper to buy today and sell them in the future for more profit, since the property value keeps on increasing higher and higher. But what the people of China were not aware of was the sudden real estate crash. The real estate market started crashing when property developers took the advance money from the people, and instead of completing the property, they invested that money into new properties, due to which, in China today, there are millions of unfinished properties, and the properties get a steep decline since February 2021. The problems grew worse last year when Evergrande, the second largest developer in the nation, defaulted on its loan. As the real estate market collapsed, a number of big enterprises saw protection from their creditors. Numerous pre-sold housing developments across the country had to delay or stop construction due to a shortage of funds. As a result of the presence of a lot of incomplete property projects, the people of China came on the roads and started protests against property developers all across China in more than 100 cities. And citizens of China started losing faith in their own country. An already significant issue is growing even more concerning weeks before the Chinese Communist Party's 20th Congress, at which the country's president, Xi Jinping, is anticipated to clinch a third term as party leader. Property makes up more than 2/3 of urban residents' wealth, and the sector supports 1/5 of the GDP. The housing market is in a downward spiral that is becoming worse, which is hurting the economy and perhaps sparking a little social unrest. This summer, when furious homebuyers refused to make mortgage payments on unfinished homes, the crisis entered a new stage, shaking the financial system and raising concerns about possible contagion. Authorities have already pleaded with banks to grant developers larger loan guarantees so they can complete their projects in an effort to defuse the issue. In an effort to increase consumer confidence, officials have also slashed interest rates. But the real estate recession persisted because buyers stayed away from the market due to the weak economy and strict COVID regulations. A private poll conducted by China Index Academy, a leading real estate research agency, found that sales by the 100 largest real estate developers decreased 26.5% in October, compared to the same month last year. Their revenues have also decreased by 43% so far this year. To be precise, people started losing trust in the government, and a huge number of people started taking their money out at the same time, leading to a drastic fall in banks' business. To overcome such a situation, the government of China decided to help its citizens and issued some policies regarding it. The Chinese government is making its biggest effort to date to address a crisis that has badly affected the country's massive real estate market and its economy in recent months. Shares of Country Garden, the largest real estate developer in China, increased by as much as 52% in Hong Kong after Beijing presented a 16-point plan on Friday that considerably loosens restrictions on lending to the industry. Key strategies include permitting banks to extend developers' maturing loans, encouraging new funding sources like bond issuance, cutting mortgage rates and down payments, and ensuring that pre-sold homes are delivered to buyers. Although the Chinese government has decided to help its people, the nation has to go a long way to get through these economic crises. And also, not only are the investors of China affected by the current crisis, but also the international investors that are related to the Chinese market, in one way or another, are badly affected. So this brings us to the end of the video. Hope you had a great time learning about the ongoing crisis. And also, what do you think was the main reason for the fall of the economy in China? And is it the end of the power of China or not? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more fun content.